It's going to work or what? She's got style and she's got grace. She's got arms. She's got a face because she's a lady. We're on. This is the second time in my 4 years of running a business where I've actually felt a little bit nervous about going live. I don't know why. So I just thought I'd kick off with a song because the minute you get a little bit of momentum and you get your first words out, nothing's ever as bad as you think it's going to be. Anyway, I'm not nervous now. I've been singing. I've sat down over the last couple of days and pulled out some questions from the C2C community, specifically on LinkedIn, that I think are going to be valuable to the vast majority of coaches, consultants, service providers, whatever you fucking call yourself. And I thought I would come on and go through them. I think there are 14 in total. I've had my new best mate, Claude, create a little HTML file that I can skip through. It was piss easy as well. Loving Claude at the moment. I'm officially an AI bro. And I'm going to run through them in order and spend a couple of minutes talking about each. We've just opened doors to the C2C program. So if this is the kind of stuff that you need help with regularly, you'll be able to go and check out on my featured section on LinkedIn or in my highlights, or depending where you're watching this, I'm live on YouTube as well. You'll be able to click a link and find out a lot more about how we help coaches, consultants, experts, authors, speakers get to 5 figures a month in school hours, there or thereabouts, 4 to 6 hours a day. We've got an amazing community, shitloads of wins. And anyway, these are some of the questions that they have brought to the table. So question number 1, how do you actually know which posts bring in leads? Is there a way to track it, or do you just have to ask? Well, firstly, I would definitely ask. I would ask everyone how they found out about you. The whole marketing journey now is very convoluted, and people have talked about funnels, a linear journey from cold, medium, hot, whatever. They've talked about flywheels, which, again, they just assume this continuous motion or momentum, which people don't have. I like to think about marketing and content and all the different touch points as a bit of a web. We want to get people stuck in it, but ultimately they bounce around between these touch points. So even if you could track it and you could go, this post specifically brought me a lead, you don't know that that's the only thing that they've seen. So if you can track it, which we'll get onto in a second, great. But you also want to establish where they first found out about you, because you've got a conversion, which is great, but you also want to find out the source or the attention and where that traffic initially originated from. Now, in terms of tracking, you can do a few things. But one of the easiest things is obviously just to ask people. Another thing that you can do is put something called a UTM code on specific links in order to track them. So we used to do this when we had sales calls and people would book through Calendly, which is a calendar scheduling software. And we would put the post name or the video name or whatever it was and just attach this string of weird little text to the end. And then we'd be able to track it through Calendly. So it's definitely worth hitting YouTube and just finding out a bit about that if you use something similar. I'm at the moment using something called RevTrack, which is a software by a great guy called Ed Lawrence. He's shit hot on YouTube. I'm using that. It's quite expensive, and it tells me which videos and posts that people have, 1, clicked on and 2, converted from. But it's quite technical because you have to go and embed a load of code on your website, which, again, not that many of us have got time for. I'm in the process of developing, it's a work in progress title, but the C2C Hub, which is a software we're going to give to our clients completely for free, our scale clients anyway, which is going to allow them to track all their metrics. It's going to allow them to be able to create content, but with all their context as well. It's going to be super powerful, but I am going to put some form of lead tracking in there. To get to the meat of this, I've used Ed Lawrence's software to put UTM codes into links and put them in my featured section, and LinkedIn just blocks them anyway. Good news is LinkedIn has now brought out this analytics feature, which means you can track posts and the clicks to the links in them. The debate or the jury is still out on whether you should put links in posts or not. Some people say do, some people say don't. I say they don't actually fucking know because none of them work for LinkedIn. And you can have this on good authority because I've had someone who works at LinkedIn in my DMs saying they don't know how the algorithm works. Another post I saw recently, actually, this is why you shouldn't listen to people who claim that they know anything about the algorithm. The head of product or the head of technical in terms of the LinkedIn product actively went on LinkedIn and posted that this 360 brew, this algorithm update that all the experts are talking about, isn't even fucking real. I've seen quite a few people who I thought were credible talking about this shit. And what happens is this whole pyramid effect where one person will mention something and then three other people will go, oh, that's obviously real because they've said it. Now I can say it because I've got it on good authority. But you haven't. They've got it wrong. This guy's come out. Anyway, LinkedIn didn't let me didn't allow the tracking of UTM codes in the featured section. What I will say is the link that gets the most clicks for me is the profile link that sits under my post. Because I'm on a premium version of LinkedIn, I actually use Sales Nav, which I think we're going to get into. Because I'm on a premium version, I get the opportunity to have a button on my profile rather than just a link. And that button it sits underneath my name on every single post. That has the most clicks. And what I've been doing is taking people to a short VSL and they've been clicking on that, going straight through to YouTube. And then they have an opportunity to either work with me directly or download a lead magnet. Ashley Leeds in the chat. How's it going, dude? Yes, the guy said that. I've got the screenshot somewhere. He was head of product for LinkedIn and it checked out. Okay. And then a load of other LinkedIn employees were also commenting on it. Now, even if it doesn't check out, I think the point still stands, right? Just because a load of people are saying it doesn't mean it's true. 360 brew sounds cool, sounds brand new. I don't know. That's why I just never profess to come on here and talk about algorithms and hashtags and shit like that. In short, the answer to question 1 of 14, which I'm going to have to answer a bit quicker than this one. The best is to have a link in the post if you can, or a link on your profile, which is universal if you're on a premium version. If not, UTM codes, still ask is the main thing. You want to find out how that person discovered you so you can put more effort and more energy into that kind of marketing. Question number 2. LinkedIn keeps restricting my searches mid-month. Is it because I've hit a limit? Yes. So if you're on the free version of LinkedIn, the conditions and the constraints that they put on these free accounts keeps getting tighter and tighter. Like you used to be able to send a message request, a message with a connection request to anyone. Now, I think you get like 3 a week or 5 a week, or I don't know. Don't quote me on the numbers, but they keep restricting the conditions of free accounts so people will pay them money. Obviously, it makes sense. They're a business. So if it does keep restricting your searches, you either make your searches more relevant and more targeted, and I do have a bit of a hack for that, or you pay an upgrade. So I don't know what the limit is. Again, there are very blurred opinions out there. I don't know the number. I'm on Sales Nav, and that I've never been hit with a search limit. And that comes out about 70 quid a month, which I equate to £2 a day. And also, when I got my account restricted, unlawfully restricted, I used that as a bit of an insurance policy. And I told them I was a paying customer. And I think they paid a bit more attention to me because I've been speaking to them, paying them money for like 3 years. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I am basically a paying client of yours. I'd also just tested some ads as well, and that really helped. So the best option is definitely just pay to upgrade. It's like £2 a day to protect your account and also have full functionality. I only use the middle tier of Sales Nav, which is, as I say, about 70 quid a month. I pay it up front, so it's just gone and I don't have to worry about it. The hack that I wanted to talk about, if you want to just connect with a load of your target market every single day, which most of us do, I recommend if you're on the free version, connect with about 20 people a day. If you're on Sales Nav, you can connect up to 40. Apparently, I've never been restricted or told off for that. I don't go through and just hit them like a madman. I add like 5, 10 at a time. Then I'll add 5, 10 a little bit later. If you have a VA in your account, you're not meant to, then what you can do is give them a list. And making a list, either in Sales Nav or in the free version, is very, very helpful because you've got one link that you can build, and I'll tell you how to build it in a sec, that you can hit every morning with filters. So you've filtered down your ICP by the geography, their names or groups they're in, people they follow, and of course their industry as well. And then you can just connect with the people that look relevant. And that's on Sales Nav or on the free version. So if you want to do that, you go to the search bar on LinkedIn, you put your cursor in there or your mouse thing, and don't type anything and just hit enter. That'll bring up everyone on LinkedIn. And all you have to do is just narrow down the audience that you want by their connection status. So are they first degree, second degree, third degree, whatever, geography, location, and of course, industry, any search terms and stuff like that. So I'd have a play around with that and then save the link. And then every time you want to connect with people, say you do it on a weekly or a daily basis, you just go to that link and then find the relevant people that LinkedIn thinks fits your ICP through all their search criteria. That's a little hack. But either make less searches or make better searches or upgrade to a premium tool. I'm about to, oh, great question. It's fucking scary. This is, I'm about to go live. This is actually one of my clients' questions from a couple of days ago. I went back and researched using Claude, our Slack channels since I think it was the start of 2025. And these are questions I've actually cherry picked from there. This one is extremely recent. So I won't name names, but my client has just left corporate, really fucking good leadership coach, bit apprehensive about going live. She's already live a little bit. She's got a couple of clients, but she's not live on LinkedIn and talking about it. And obviously she wants to make a bit of noise. Like, if we ever do anything that's substantial, you know, we're booked up, we're putting our prices up, we're launching something brand new, we need to tell people about it. We are the best marketers for our business at the start. Until we can get clients and case studies who sell for us essentially, and we turn them into sales assets, we need to be that voice. We need to make these announcements. So at the start, there's obviously a lot of apprehension around posting things and like blowing your own trumpet. You've kind of got to get over that. You don't have to do it in like a braggy way, but you do need to let people know that shit is coming. So the best way I think you can do about it, the way you can go about it, first and foremost, is update your job history, because that's just like filling in a CV. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing it like that, but it's just like updating something, and that'll hit your network with an update. That is going to get some attention. Then you can do what I think, and I was speaking to Katie about this the other day, is a hand raise post where you just put your like, ask people to put their hands up if they're interested in working with you. So you talk about this big exciting thing that you're just launching, you've never done anything before. You can talk about how nervous you are. You can talk about the fact that you're a bit apprehensive about posting or looking desperate and you don't want to feel cringe, but I need to get this out there. I've just started this brand new business. I cannot wait for this new venture. I'm going to help change this market or shake this up or these clients. Is there anyone out there who you think I should be speaking to? Or I've got space to speak with X number of people over the next week who might want to see major improvement. And those kind of posts, again, they kind of take the pressure off. If you've been a little bit vulnerable in them, they really help. But once you've done a couple of them, you won't give a shit. I'm telling you. Me and my clients at the moment, my clients inside C2C Scale, which is our higher tier offer, are running like a go live challenge. That's why I'm hopping on and doing this. We're running a go live challenge to get as many reps under our belt as possible. Not only that, we're going to pull the transcripts and use them in June to make sales and marketing assets out of, but first and foremost, we need to get our face on camera. We need to get used to like freestyling and talking with minimal prep. So this is my minimal prep. Everything else is freestyle, and just get time on cam. And time on cam will also help us get, or help other people get time on brand with us. So if we can go live, I believe everyone needs some form of long form channel these days. If we can go live, we're creating assets that are anywhere from 5 to 60 minutes long. And we remove, once we've done it a few times, we remove the nervousness about the tech or about our face or about the lighting or about what we're going to say, because we've done it that many times, we almost become numb to it. And that is the exact same thing you need to do when promoting your business. Next one. I want to build a cold outreach list on LinkedIn. Should I be using Apollo, Sales Nav, or something else? What's actually worth paying for? Well, I've been in a lot of like hustle bro heavy kind of masterminds. And a lot of them talk about cold email and things like Apollo. I have never used Apollo. I don't know what it does. I've used a thing called Lusher, which basically scrapes people's details and it gives you their email address and their phone number. But if you're looking for a cold outreach list specifically on LinkedIn, my advice would be to keep it all within the one tool. Like, why would we diversify tools and then have to come back to the original tool to actually make it work? Unless you're going to email them. So if you're planning to do cold outreach on LinkedIn, just build the fucking list on LinkedIn. If you're trying to ring them or email them, then maybe look at an external tool. I have already talked about why I think SalesNav is worth paying for. It's brilliant, really is good. It's a lot more targeted than the non-paid or the free LinkedIn. But I would question, and I think there's another question on cold, but do you need to go cold straight away? Cold's the hardest. A lot of people think you need to go cold. A lot of these experts who they tell you to comment fucking a keyword underneath their post so you can get their cold DM template that converts meetings at 80% bollocks. No, it doesn't. Plus, messaging cold people is literally the stupidest thing you can do, in my opinion. Reason being, there are loads of other people who already know who you are, who are a lot warmer, who would convert into calls and downloads and conversations or whatever a lot easier than someone who is basically a stranger. The way I look at cold outreach is, if needs must, do it if there's no one else to speak to. But it's basically harassing strangers. You're walking up to people you don't know and asking a favor from them, whether that's time, money, call booking, whatever. That they're going to be apprehensive when doing that. So why don't you try and engineer some warmth by putting out content, perhaps going and engaging with people or going and checking them out. And yeah, it's good to have a list, but I'd connect with them first and like let them see what you're about, and you can check them out about a bit first, rather than just jumping in cold to like people who don't even fucking know you. On to the next question. Cold outreach on LinkedIn feels monotonous as hell. I wonder why. It is monotonous as hell. How do you stay consistent with it when it starts to kill you inside? What a question. We've got the word kill, we've got the word hell. Let's just think about consistency as a frame of mind first, rather than the methods. Like, thanks for the commentary, Ashley. You're keeping me going here, dude. Consistency itself basically means a habit, and a habit is something that you do repeatedly. You have to have some form of motivation, medium or long term motivation in order to stay consistent. So I put on a bit of weight over the past couple of months, and I now have a consistent gym habit for the last couple of weeks and a consistent eating habit. I'm not overeating, which is great. Why? I want to eat chocolate and I want to drink rum. Simple as that. Why am I not doing those things? Well, it's because I have a motivation or a goal that is a little bit further away. So I'm going away somewhere soon, and I don't want to look fat when I've got my top off. I want to look like a Greek god. Not going to happen, but still. So I have a goal. That means when I start doubting myself or wanting to go and steal the kids' snacks, which I'm very guilty of a lot of the time, I can stop and think for a second and actually go, hold on, that's not fitting in with the plan. And that has allowed me so far. The sun is out. It's Friday. Who knows? Now I'm going to be good. But who knows what can happen if you don't have that like long-term, like medium to long-term plan. So I think before you start working out what the methods are and whether cold outreach is the best approach for you, maybe you need to think about the goal first. And is it something you actually want to achieve? Then you can work out the mechanics. Because I've just spoken about how I think cold outreach, it works. I used to literally, my job was cold calls and cold emails to people that didn't know me, to book meetings, to put creative proposals in front of them and to close them. I started it all cold. And I did £1 million, over £1 million, over 7 figures for the agency business that I work with. And I had to stay consistent. Like it was simple as that. But I had a goal, I had a target, I had heat on me. And that obviously really helped. So you work out the goal first and then work out the mechanics behind it, how you're going to do it. You don't need to go cold a lot of the time. If you like, I'm not saying don't DM people. I'm not saying don't go cold if you don't like, if you have to, but you can engineer attention in other ways. That being said, if you're stuck in this trap, I would test different approaches, because if you are hopping in cold and straight up cold, like pitch slapping someone, fucking hell. And no wonder it feels monotonous. No wonder no one's responding. But if you go in and have an actual conversation and say, hey, I saw you do this, or I saw you know this person, or I saw you live in Scunthorpe, my auntie Cynthia lives there. How's the weather? I don't know, some bullshit. You're gonna find out what works. I recommend to our clients that they hit 100 messages as fast as possible with 5 different angles or frames on each. So one would be quite direct, one would be very informal, one would be humorous, one would be asking research, and one would be paying a compliment. You do each of those 5 20 times, and then just measure 1 which feels good to you, 2 which actually gets responses and replies. Then if you've got the feels good to you, feels natural, you just go down that angle and diversify into 2 or 3 others and do 100 that way, and then go, okay, this might be the winning formula. I think the problem is everyone's looking for the silver bullet or the one message template that's going to change everything, when they're ignoring the thing that matters most, which is just going in and having the fucking conversations, working through the tough parts, and understanding that this isn't a one size fits all fucking solution. If you could crack, it's why AI is so shit. They're trying to crack appointment setting using robots, and it's not going to work, because there isn't all, like, humans are crazy, crazy creatures, right? We all have these weird little patterns that piss us off or that we're receptive to. And then a robot comes along and it either ticks a box or doesn't. But if you're trying to do it like in one direction without the nuances of conversation and taking different things into account from different people, it's going to feel monotonous. So you just have to go in and experiment. I saw a great Instagram motivational post the other day, which said, your life will become so much more fun or easier when you start treating everything like it's a test. So just go out there and piss about a bit. Find out what people are receptive to and what you like. And don't go cold if you don't have to. Fucking hell. I thought I curated these a bit better. I've been sending cold messages and getting 0 replies. So you need to change it up. How many times should you change it up before you give up on an approach? Well, most people are probably inclined to think that they've sent this thing 4 times and no one's responded, therefore it doesn't work. It will work if you do enough of it. The thing is, 4 isn't a big number. 1,000 is a big number. And people think they do it consistently, but they do it for a day, then not for a day, and then for 2 days, and then have a day off. And that's not consistency. So we want volume and consistency, a big number done over a long duration without quitting, essentially. I would, to begin with, just test 20 each, like I've just mentioned. But I've already kind of answered this. Onto something a bit more pleasant. My LinkedIn newsletter has a small but growing audience. Nice. I feel like I'm reading these out at like a party. Like it's some form of game of Pictionary. I don't know. My LinkedIn newsletter has a small but growing audience. Should I pause if I can't post weekly, or is monthly actually fine? You need to stay consistent with you. So don't sign up to something that you can't keep going with. I always recommend starting the minimum and then eking up as and when you get better. So minimum cadence, let's say it's a month. Keep going monthly until you can go fortnightly. But why would you pause? Like, pausing is just going to halt the thing completely. So one thing I used to teach my daughter, or try and teach her, she didn't fucking listen. When we're going for runs, my thing would be, apart from control your breath, would be speed up, slow down, but don't ever stop. And that's true here as well. So you can post more than monthly, fortnightly if you want. You can slow it down a little bit and just do monthly, but don't stop. Newsletters, I think, are one of the better features at the moment on LinkedIn, aside from going live. Reason being, you have a number of subscribers to a newsletter, and unless they've opted out, they will get emailed your newsletter. So what I do is I like to put videos, or like I'll take a transcript of a call and make it into a nice article. And then I'll make sure I've got CTAs in there, like a couple of CTAs. Go and download a lead magnet, or check out this workshop, or you can book a call, or whatever it is. And they, excuse me, always tend to do quite well when I've tracked the links. Again, comes back to the first question. So monthly's all right. I would just say build the habit. And then once you monthly isn't a big issue for you, and you can do it without it hurting you too much, because writing can be a pain at the start, then you can increase it to fortnightly, but only when you know you can maintain that frequency. I'm connecting with loads of people, but most of them are employed, not business owners. Does that matter? How do I get more of the right people accepting requests? This is an impossible question to answer. You're connecting with loads of people, but most of them are employed, not business owners. So you need to get clearer on the target market. Which one do you want to connect with? Fucking business owners or employed people? Who do you sell to? Who are your ideal clients? Once you know that, then just go after those. Does that matter? Yes, of course it does. I wouldn't waste time connecting with or accepting connection requests from people who don't fit in your ideal client sort of persona, unless you think they can add value to you in some other way. So I reject every connection request from people that I don't think I can sell to, or don't look interesting to me. I'm not trying to build connections. They can follow me, fine. I don't want to be connected to them, because I don't want any shit in my feed. I want my feed to be good. It's not, but maybe we'll remove some people. Does it matter? How do you get more of the right people accepting requests? Well, first of all, send them to the right fucking people. That's going to help. So make your mind up on who you want to try and sell to. And then how do you get them to accept? Well, think about the logical journey. Someone you've never heard of pops up as a LinkedIn connection request. What's the first thing you, as the person receiving that request, is going to do? You're going to go and check. Well, you're going to see the profile picture, and you're going to see their name, and then you're going to see the first 50 characters of their LinkedIn headline. If none of those pass the I trust you or you look interesting test, you're going to bin them off. If they do, you will either click yes, or you'll go and check out the profile probably first. So the first step here is to probably optimize your profile to make it look interesting, make it look like you can be trusted with money, with your profile picture. Like, don't put yourself on a night out pissed at your face. I know that's like an obvious thing. And then make sure your headline says something, again, interesting. You don't have to put your fucking offer in your headline, like I help so-and-so achieve so-and-so, or founder, director, best-selling author. Doesn't have to be any of that. My favorites are, my favorite LinkedIn headline ever was from a chap called Jamie. He's a salesperson. He's Indian, and his headline, this is the best LinkedIn headline I've ever read. I don't care what anyone says. You've tried the cowboys, now try the Indian. Fucking gold. I love it. And that, I think, will get a lot more cut through than I help leaders increase their sales, especially, which he has, like if you have a sense of personality. So I would optimize those things first. So profile picture, headline, and your name. Don't have like a million emojis after your name and all that kind of shit. One if you have to, I guess. And then go to the profile, make the banner look good, get the featured section pop in, make it look like you're credible, basically. We want to send signals of authority to anyone that clicks on that, and either get them to follow, accept, or take the next step, which is click on the featured section, DM us, or click the link, essentially. Optimize for those things. Is it okay to use a client's photo and case study in your content without asking their permission first? Whew. You can do what you want. I am not your mum, but I would always ask permission, or make sure that there is an agreement that's been signed. In our T's and C's, we can share anything we want. We don't share everything. We have some extremely personal situations that go on. We're dealing with a large group of people who all have lives and relatives and things like that, and stuff happens, and we would never share anything that I believe would piss any of our clients off. If there's ever a bit of like an edge case for it, I will go and speak to them first. But there are ways around this, right? If a client says no, or you perhaps work with someone, imagine you're a ghostwriter, for example, what you can do is hide names and faces and just share messages. If it's a video, you can disguise faces, disguise voices, or you can take away the surname, change the profile picture, whatever it is. So I would always make sure that permission has been sought or seeked out first, whether that's a conversation or it's in your T's and C's. I want to use LinkedIn as a referral machine, okay? But everyone I know already knows what I do. How do I ask for referrals without sounding like I'm struggling? I'm calling bullshit on this. There is not a cat in hell's chance that everyone you know knows what you do. If everyone you were connected to on social media knew what you did and that you were good at it, which I hope you are, you would have more leads. You would have more clients. You would make more money. So you're probably, I suspect, giving up a little bit early. It's like people that say the market's saturated. It's like, you just think the market's saturated because you haven't put in enough effort across enough channels over a long enough time horizon. Because when you have, you'll find out there are loads of untapped mini markets within one market who just hang around over here or over here, like Facebook fucking groups or whatever. I don't know. So not everyone knows. Hardly anyone knows you exist. And that's the thing I tell myself all the time when I worry about repeating myself and starting to try and reinvent the wheel. No one fucking knows. Tell them again. Maybe change it a tiniest bit, but tell them and keep hammering the same message. Second part of the question, how do I ask for referrals without sounding like I'm struggling? It depends who you're asking, first and foremost. I always like to start with the people. So if you're asking the people I'd go to referrals for straight away, if I was starting my business again, would be those people closest to me who I could have an honest word with, and I could literally say, I'm struggling. I need your help. Can you intro me to someone at Adidas where you used to work or whatever it may be? I'm not quite sure of the context of this question, whether you're trying to get cold people to refer you or you go into existing clients. I probably wouldn't you could, but I probably out the gate wouldn't make my LinkedIn content or LinkedIn DMs to people I'm not close with the first port of call. I think you already know enough people that you can go to them with a creative ask. I don't think LinkedIn's part of the problem here. I think the problem is probably your attitude to it. Everyone I know already knows what I do. Even if that bit's true, even if everyone already knows what you do, have you actually asked them to refer people to you or for them to intro you to people? I'm guessing not. Everyone knows, especially if we can include all the social contacts, everyone knows 1,000 people. There is not a fucking no way you have gone and spoken to 1,000 people and asked them to refer you. What I will say is, even if you have tried to do that with a lot of people, vary the platform or the channel in which you communicate with them, because what you've probably done is the laziest thing and sent them a text or an email or a WhatsApp or a DM, which is just words on a screen, versus doing the most proactive thing or one of and picking up the fucking phone to them and going, hey, 2 minutes of your time, Dave, really need a favor. I need you to intro me to 3 people at X who fit Y criteria. Can you do that for me now, please? Put that ask in front of people. And you can do it in other creative ways, but you've probably not done the most basic approach, which is go to the people closest to you in a 2-way conversation, not a 1-way text broadcast, and a direct ask with some form of incentive if required. Next, LinkedIn Lives feel like they only work if you've already got a big audience. Again, I'm just going to call out volume here. A lot of this seems feeling based, and this even has the word feel in here. We're talking about business, all right? Business is the transfer of numbers from here to here to here to here. That's basically like a funnel, if you like. We're transferring numbers from attention into trust, into conversion, into clients, into revenue, all right, or profit. Numbers are data, And data is much more reliable than emotions. So when you say the word feel, I would question, well, where's the data? You're saying you feel like it only works if they've got a big audience. How the fuck do you know? How many lives have you done? How many times have you gone live? Probably like 5. And then you're like, oh, I'm not sure it works. It comes down to the volume and the consistency side of things. Now, of course, if you have a big audience, you are going to get probably by default more people attending a live. But irrespective of how many people show up, what's the point of doing a live? Well, I've already kind of spoken about this with regards to the LinkedIn Live challenge that myself and the C2C clients are running. There's a lot more of a point to it. People can go and replay LinkedIn Lives forever. Oh, well, it won't be forever. You can put it on YouTube. You can grab the transcript. You're honing your skills most importantly, and you only need 2 people to watch for them to go, fucking hell, I really like what she said there about that. I'm going to tell someone about this, or I'm going to tell my friend to follow it, or actually, I might go and download the lead magnet or book the call or tag her in a post about it that goes out to my network. You only need fucking 1 person to watch. It says 0 people are watching here. I don't care. I don't think it's true. But so what? Give a fuck. That's the point. All right. The point is you're honing your skills. The point is you're expecting too much from one live when you're actually not aware of how much or what 10 lives could do for you. Next one. I've been told to make my LinkedIn profile clear, but every version I write feels too vague or too salesy. How do you find the middle ground? I think you find the middle ground by going to the middle of personal and business. Just because LinkedIn is the business social network, it doesn't mean you can't have personality and talk about lifestyle based stuff as well as what you do. So I'm running a workshop on Tuesday for our clients called Personal Brand DNA. And I think personal brands are best built when you combine personality or personal stuff and business stuff together. An example, we had a client who was a recruitment consultant. Think how hard it is to stand out on LinkedIn when you're a fucking recruitment consultant. There are so many recruitment consultants on the platform. Wicked. So we can either blend in or we can find something. We don't have to create it. Something that already exists in our private life potentially, or in our life in general, in our personal life, that will make us different from every other recruiter out there. Like, I don't know how many other, I don't want to call myself a LinkedIn coach, but for the sake of sounding like a basic bitch, I will. I don't know how many other LinkedIn coaches have done boxing matches. They've not got in the ring and had a fight. So therefore, if I'm a LinkedIn coach and I'm not, but an amateur boxer, I'm not, that makes me different. I then have a unique point of differentiation from any other LinkedIn coach just because I've mentioned that thing. Now, what I also like to do is try and include humor. So it's on the t-shirt, ex-loser. It's also on my profile as well. I think I'm trying to say a lot with those 2 words, or 1 word, if you call it that. But it makes people intrigued. People are like, well, I love the ex-loser. They DM me that. Perfect. It starts conversations. And that was just something stupid I came up with. Katie Skelton, I called her an email weirdo. Massive email weirdo. She just put that at the front of her headline. But let's go back to what clear is. Being clear means being very specific. So being specific requires you to focus in on one thing, typically. So rather than trying to target everyone, in which case no one will pay attention to you, you want to talk to that ideal client. So you think about the LinkedIn profile as a whole. We've covered some of the sections. You've got the photo, the banner, the headline, you've got a link. Then I think you've got an about section, you've got a featured section, you've got some recommendations and your job history. Try and make all those things cohesive. And about you, I mean, when I look at LinkedIn profiles, I have a formula, I call it DROP. Differentiation. So we make it different to everyone else. Then we have a route. So we're giving people a route to go on or a journey to go on. I try and take people to the featured section or the link because I want them off platform. Then we have O, which is outcome. So are we talking about the outcome that we can help people get, this aspirational thing that our ideal clients want, and we're the person to connect those two sort of bridge those two across the gap, if you like. And then P is proof. And make sure that you can actually back up the fact that you can help them do it with recommendations, sharing your results on either your banner or in your featured section, client social proof. Maybe it's the fact you've written a book or you've spoken on a big stage. As I mentioned before, like sending those clear authority signals to people who haven't followed you, who do follow you, or who might be like shopping around. Ashley's still here. Yes, mate. I think it might be me and you, even though it says 0. Oh, no, I'm looking at the Instagram counter. And StreamYard never gets it right anyway. Thanks for sticking around though, man. I post consistently, but get more engagement from people who never buy from me. How do I stop optimizing for likes and start optimizing for leads? Big one. So I post consistently. Good. You've done one of the hardest things there. So you probably need to give yourself a pat on the back first and foremost. But you get more engagement from people who will never buy from me. Question 1, how do you know? How do you know they'll never buy? Question 2, have you asked them? How do you stop optimizing for likes and start optimizing for leads? It comes back to that specificity piece, right? Is it different to what other people are saying? Are you taking them on a route? Are you talking about the outcome? Because when you call out the outcome, people that aren't going to buy probably won't be that interested. And then are you putting proof in there? So I like to, when I'm creating content, 4 Ps. There are 4 elements you want in either a single, like there are 4 elements that you want to try and include in every single post. If you want to tick all the boxes, you can just do 1 of each. Anyway, personal. So you want to have some personality in it and tell like a story or have an opinion. It needs to solve a problem of some description. Now, it could just be that it's entertaining, or it could be the fact that you are helping people actually solve a problem, or you're walking through a process, talking through your product, whatever it might be. The next thing is proof, which we've already kind of touched on. So proof that you are good, or proof that you've helped someone else do something good. And then the final thing is promo. So you want to promote the next step. And I think having those 4 in the mix is going to attract the right people, but also repel the wrong ones. One use case for this, did I work with him? No, I don't think I actually worked with him. I had a conversation with he was a video editor and he was fucking brilliant. And he wanted to go out and have conversations and land deals with some high-end fucking well-known brands. And he was good enough to do it. His work was outstanding. But the problem was his content, and this was on Instagram, his content was only made up of Adobe Premiere editing tutorials. Think for a second, who the fuck is interested in that kind of content? Marketing managers at big brands, marketing directors, CMOs at big brands do not care about editing software or how you put a whoosh sound effect or put a fucking 3D rocket in. They don't give a shit about that. They just want the polished video to be on brief. So when you put out content that goes into too much detail about shit that you like to geek out on, it's only going to attract other people who like to geek out on the same stuff, who are usually going to be your competitors. So that's optimizing for likes. Optimizing for leads is almost like repelling those people. We have to think about marketing like a magnet, right? When you think about a magnet, if you ask a child about a magnet, they will probably go, oh, well, it pulls metal towards it or it attracts metal or something like that. When actually, the other half of a magnet's job is to repel and push things away. So you have to think about how do you call out ideal audience, but also repel non-ideal audience too. And you can do that by using words and phrases that ideal audience would use. So to solve this quickly, I'll probably just take the last load of sales call transcripts that you have. If you've got a note taker plugged in like Fathom or Otter or something like that, grab the last 5 and go, how do I repel people who aren't like this if they were a good fit? What types of phrases are these people on these calls saying that I can use in my marketing to inspire similar people to take action? Stuff like that. I've got a whole like sales call analysis bot that I'm dropping as part of our software. It's banging, but you're not having that for free. Sorry, you have to join C2C. Last one. I have got loads of LinkedIn connections from my old career who don't fit my ICP at all. Okay, do I delete them, ignore them, or is there actually a way to convert them? I would delete your whole account immediately. I'm joking. um, we've spoken about introductions, right? So don't delete them because these people already know who you are. You have some level of warmth with them, I hope. If you do, then I would set aside an afternoon and put that warmth to use by trying to get the phone numbers or sending them voice notes and doing what we said earlier and asking for referrals. All right. The way to convert them, there's a likelihood a chunk of them are going to be very useful to you, but a bigger chunk aren't. So you don't want to convert those people, but you can have conversations with them, get some feedback on what you're doing, ask for some introductions, perhaps, I don't know, go live with them if you've got a mark, like if they have an audience that you want to hijack and go live with them potentially, but I wouldn't delete them. I don't tend to delete people unless they annoy me. A quick story here. When I first started LinkedIn, I was still employed and I had another LinkedIn account with all my work contacts on. I had like 17, 18,000 followers. That's because I just used to add 100 people a day. It was just nuts. So I started a brand new one, but I was obviously, because I was employed, I was very conscious that I didn't want anyone from my current company to see me putting out content in case I got fired. Basically, I didn't want to piss off my boss, even though I was quite close to them. And one of my bosses was my best mate as well. So I did it all behind their back almost. And I created this account and I just went straight to every single colleague of mine, whether I knew them or not, anyone that worked for our like 70 person company. And I blocked them on LinkedIn. I just blocked them. And the story here is, we're 4 years in, I've not unblocked them. They're all still blocked apart from like 2. Only because I can't be asked unblocking them. I haven't had time. Anyway, little quick story. Doors for C2C are now open. I'd love to try and help you. Well, not try, we succeed. I would love to succeed in helping you take the next step in your business. So if you are a coach, consultant, service provider, expert, author, speaker, whatever, you want to build a personal brand, you want to get it to 5 figures a month there or thereabouts. I've helped fucking tons of people do it. And we've got a handful of spots. One's already been taken, but we have a handful of spots to work with people. We don't do sales calls. We can help you with sales calls because I've done hundreds in my time, and that's typically what our clients do. But we don't do sales calls anymore. It's a simple click to buy journey. The link is on my profile. It should also be under my name as well, hopefully, since I've been harping on about that all episode. So you'll be able to go and check that out. And if you like it, hop in. We're closing them in a week. If not, you can start to buy it and you'll get put onto my email list. Today has been day 1 of a banging 7-day email mini course. It took me all weekend to put it together, breaking down every single framework and every single lesson I've learned on the journey from 0 to 7 figures in under 2 years. So you'll be able to go and get that if you start to pretend to buy it. Obviously, I'll be on your back if you do start to buy it. I probably won't. I'm quite lazy when it comes to like chasing people. Anyway, thanks for a great call, even though it was just me and it wasn't a call. And I will catch you soon. Ashley, appreciate it, dude.